Ren from Hallowed Be Thy Game, and today I'm going to share with you my first impressions of Star Ocean: The Divine Force. Let's check it out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hallowed Be Thy Game. Ren here, and thank you so much for joining me here today for my first impressions of Star Ocean. Now, as a quick disclaimer, I'm pretty new to the Star Ocean games. I've only ever really played Star Ocean First Departure R, like on the PSP and the recent port to Switch. I love that game, but I wouldn't necessarily classify myself as a Star Ocean aficionado, to put it lightly. So coming into Star Ocean, I was wondering how confused I would be or how lost I would feel, and I've been having just a wonderful time. This is a very nostalgic, and I kind of refer to these as comfort food type games, and for jrpgs, that's kind of my wheelhouse. If you're new to the channel, I am by no means a stickler for, performance rates or anything like that. And I don't say that to kind of set a really low bar for Star Ocean, because I've been genuinely surprised with my time with it. And I just kind of wanted to share with you kind of the pros and cons that I've been experiencing. But overall, spoiler alert, I'm having a lot of fun with this game. And it's been a really nice kind of transition from kind of the shorter games I've been playing, because after Soul Hackers 2 and Xenoblade 3, I've been kind of looking to get my pilot light back to just dive into longer jrpgs, and this has just been a wonderful transition into the Divine Force. And in terms of action RPG, Star Ocean is hitting that particular great itch. If you guys know, I'm a huge fan of like Scarlet Nexus, the Dark Souls games, Tales of Arise. I just freaking love action RPGs. It'd be really tough for me to pick whether I like action or turn-based RPGs more, but the Divine Force is just hitting the nail on the head in just terms of fun action RPG gameplay. Now, what's really interesting here, and I didn't really expect it, is the story and characters are rich. They're great. I'm always a fan of kind of corny, hokey stories, and I thought this was going to be more so that. I'm loving the culture clash between like a futuristic sci-fi world being marooned on kind of a medieval magical fantasy world, and just kind of the awkwardness and just the barriers between the two different types of cultures has just been a wonderful joy to experience. I'm just eating this story up. I can't get enough of it. And this is one of those wonderful games that I'm constantly on the lookout for, where hours just kind of slip by. And again, this is my brand spanking new thoughts on the game. I'm only a couple hours in, but I'm putting my party together. I'm starting to get the basics of combat. So I have to just go ahead and state that the voice acting in this game is jaw-droppingly good. The characters are voiced extremely well. Each of them are just delivering very impassioned performances. I love whether it just be kind of like a cold, unfeeling character mixed with just like kind of your hopeful JRPG protagonist. But the performances are varied and wonderful. They have me hooked. I love the character designs and the aesthetic to it. Now, again, I've said, I'm a fan of Xenoblade. I'm a fan of like the Tales of, and just kind of the aesthetic of all these different cultures clashing, whether it be a futuristic character or a medieval fantasy setting character. Their character designs are excellent, and the voice acting along with them is perfect. And I'm really loving the characters. Now, again, I'm too early in to know if there's a lot of character building or any character arcs going on, but I like the direction that characters are going in right now. I like their motivations, the sense of exploring and adventure, that is kind of indicative to the Star Ocean games is definitely just embodied in these characters, and it's really cool. I'm loving seeing where this is going. Now, just to touch real quickly on the soundtrack, the songs in this are incredible. I'm not going to say banging or slapping, because they're definitely orchestrated, bombastic, very epic. When you think of an ocean of stars, you think of space, you think of those just woodwind instruments, you think of those just big orchestras, and the soundtrack embodies that. I mean, when I hear this music, I can almost feel the adventure inside me. I'm ready to go on an adventure. I'm ready to travel, and it definitely has that, pushing the boundary, the envelope of space, and you can kind of feel that just enriched in the battle soundtracks or the somber moments of the game. it's wonderful. I really just am blown away by how much I love the soundtrack to Star Ocean: The Divine Force. So I'm hooked on the characters, I'm hooked on the music and the story and the setting, but I also got to say the visuals and the skybox. I know this is weird, but I love a good skybox in a game. And there are some just jaw-dropping scenery that you can see in this game with just the vistas, you know, the space, the foreign world above you. You know, I've chosen Raymond's path right now, and you know, he's a stranger in a strange land. And when you're looking at all the scenery and everything, it's wonderful. And on top of that, with just kind of the level design and the aesthetic they've chose, it really plays into an aspect of this game that I wasn't expecting to be so well, and that's exploration. Look, friends, it's really good. I didn't know how I was going to feel about this Duma robot, and you know, you uncover this without any spoilers, and it's essentially integral to both your fighting and exploration. Now, we'll talk about fighting in a second, but you know, when you're roaming around the world, you have the ability to use this little robot as kind of like a parachute and a jetpack. And, you know, flying around like your Boba Fett is friggin' awesome. I love this. And the level layouts and such like that are kind of labyrinthian enough to where they're not overwhelming, but they're fun to explore. And I love it when a game doesn't make me feel like I'm having to satiate kind of like an OCD of fully exploring an area. And I love it when the aesthetics and just kind of the setting make me feel as if I have time to explore and give me incentive to explore. And I think that's what Star Ocean in particular hit, because there's a lot of games just have these vast open, kind of jaw-dropping open worlds. And even though Star Ocean isn't an open world, these maps are really big. And they're laid out in a way to where they have verticality to them, and they're just fun to explore. So you just got your jetpack and you're going around, you're exploring, you find items to help you increase just kind of the power rating and abilities of your jetpack, whether it be, you know, just to help you explore more or find treasure chests. The chests are hidden surprisingly well in this, so definitely don't ignore your ability to like hit L2 and scan the area. And I'm definitely going to be looking to upgrade that more as I go, because that's a lot of fun. Now, I've kind of skirted around it enough. Let's talk about combat. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, you know I'm a sucker and kind of a stickler for combat. And wow, it's really good. It's so weird to build your own combos. Okay, so let me explain. As you get experience and such like that, you get this resource to where you can spend and unlock new abilities or upgrade abilities. And you have this beautiful skill tree. Everybody loves skill trees. I love them too. And it's a lot of fun here, but you're also able to just kind of invest in these abilities, and you can build your own combo chains on square, triangle, or circle if you're playing on PlayStation. And essentially, there'll be you can hit the button 3 times, and you'll combo different abilities together each time. And it consumes AP, or I believe it's called action points. If you stop sprinting or running, it'll just refill on its own. And there's definitely an ebb and flow that I'm noticing to where you're going to want to build your AP and manage it well, because it seems like it recharges faster if you haven't fully depleted it. And one extremely crucial way you can help manage your AP is by increasing the amount you have. So instead of just getting flat, you know, skill upgrades and such like that, if you can manage your Duma ability to be able to kind of initiate blindside attacks to where you essentially charge up your jetpack and you consume this unique fuel resource for it that will be recharged by using AP and such like that. If you can, as you're charging to an enemy, divert your direction by just moving the directional button, the enemy will lose sight of you. And then once you hit them, you'll get an AP bonus to where you have more to your gauge, and it'll stun lock the enemy. It's integral to combat, especially bosses. And I didn't know how it was going to feel, because I'll be honest, I've never played anything like this before in terms of managing like a jetpack resource in combat. And I gotta be honest, it's really jiving with me. I'm loving it. It's so rare anymore to have kind of a mechanic introduced into action RPG that feels very new. You all know how much I love Astral Chain, and I'm not going to pretend that Star Ocean's anywhere near Astral Chain, but I'm just saying it's really nice that the developers at Tri-Ace have experimented and thought outside the box how to incorporate an exploration type mechanic into combat itself. Long story short, I'm addicted, I'm loving it, and I can't wait to see where the story goes. But yeah, combat and movement is very fluid. I'm very appreciative of how fast characters can run. Nothing's more obnoxious, and maybe it's just because I'm coming off of Merwind. Nothing's more obnoxious than when you feel like you're walking or it's clunky to run. It's very fast, extremely responsive. Honestly, changing directions when you're running and such like that is a little surprising how responsive it is. It's a lot of fun, and exploring is definitely my surprise takeaway from this. It's been extremely enjoyable. The feeling of nostalgia with the music and the dialogue, it's got like that PS2 kind of cheese, which is right up my wheelhouse. I know what I am. I'm not going to pretend I'm anything other than someone who loves corny JRPGs, and the comfort food is flowing. And if you're looking for just a quality game, I'm loving what I'm seeing here at Star Ocean. I'll be sure to report back later with my final thoughts on it. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Huge shout out to the channel patrons and members. Again, your support, it's fantastic. Thank you all so much. I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And thank you all so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. And be sure to subscribe. It helps out the channel so much if you're looking for more JRPG content and discussions. I hope you all are having an incredible week, and I'll see you all next time.